Welcome. In our previous lessons, we learned how the compiler scans out code for tokens. The whole code we've developed so far can generally be referred to as the tokenizer or lexical analyzer. In this lesson, we will output all tokens into a file, and in future lessons, we will assemble the tokens into sentences and compile them. With the help of the makeToken function, we'll be able to copy our tokens and output them into a file. So we'll declare the makeToken function right above our endFile function, and is implemented using polymorphism for tokens without data and tokens with data. Next, I've initialized the makeToken function. We'd like to do two things with our token. First, we would like to output the tokens to a file so we could visualize them. And secondly, we also want to compile them. So to visualize them, we need to output them to a file with the help of the writeFile function. This function will create a file and copy our tokens into them. Secondly, for compilation, to compile them, we use the send-to-parser function. The send-to-parser function will send our tokens to the parser for compilation in part 2 of this course. So we'll just call them. We create the line number global variable. We use this variable to index our tokens in the output file. So we initialize it to 1 so that since our token is going to start from line 1. We also declare the writeFile function, which takes as argument the data to write to a file. Whenever we are done with makeToken, we store the token in the previous token variable, which we discussed about in the last tutorial. So we use it to test for function call, as we did earlier. The string code will consist of all the token data we want to write to our output file. So the data include the serial line number, which we've created the global line number, then the token type, then finally the line number in our code file where the token appear, and finally the token data for tokens that store data. I've separated all of them with the double hyphen. So whenever I write a token to our output file, I'm going to increment our line number. Then for the parser, we need to only send as argument the token type, the line number of the token, where the token appeared, and the token data for tokens that store data. So here we call the writeFile function to write our data to the output file. So this line number is different from the serial indexing line number. This one refers to the line number in our original compile file where the tokens appear, while this one is just a serial index for outputting our tokens in the output file. So now let us initialize our writeFile function. Just like we did when we copied our data at the beginning of the course, we're also going to copy our data from our writeFile argument into a char array called char array. We first get the length and create the char array of the same size, and using the string copy function, we copy our data into the char array. The name of the output test file will be token.txt. Next, we need to delete any copies of it before outputting our tokens to it. So we are going to achieve this using the delete old variable. We initialize it to 0. So once we delete the file, we increment this variable by 1. So this prevents the if block from running a second time. Then within the if block, we try to open our token.txt file in read mode. And if we're successful, it means that the file already exists. So we use the remove function to delete it and create a new one on line 25. And then we open it in append mode. On line 26, we start appending our tokens to our output file using the fput methods, and also add a new line after outputting every token, and we close it back on line 28. At this point, our scanner is now complete. In our next lesson, we'll start compilation. But before that, let us initialize our send-to-parser function and error function. Then we can run an example. In our parser.h file, header file, which we included in our scanner, we declare the send-to-parser function and error function. We also have our token list, enum, here. And before we run our test file, let us first comment all of them, because we have not created the file that will initialize them. Then we go over to our scanner, comment the send-to-parser function, and paste our error function. After the testing, we are going to delete the error function so that it is going to be called from the parser.h header file. Now, we move our generate token function to be just below the isAlphabet function. And in our test.c++ file, we are going to run this sample code here. So in my command line, I'll first navigate to our project folder. Then I'm going to run the file. And when I open our token.txt file, I will get this. On the first column is our serial number, which we included in the string code. Then the next token is our token type, which is our token, but they're actually displayed as numbers. Then the delimiter, which is a double hyphen, and on then the third column is the line numbers where they appear on our code file. Then finally, token data are displayed. Since our token type are enumerators, they are displayed as numbers. So to view them as string, we need to create an array with their name as string and positioned at their enum index. So let us create one. In our scanner.c++ file, I've created the array named token names, which consists of all our tokens at their enumerator index. Next, in our makeToken function, we replace the token type with the array values using the token type as the index of the array. Now, when we run it again, we are going to get this. Now you can see that we get the list of our tokens and not the numbers. So you can run your own test program, but make sure it's well written and only consists of tokens in our token list, because we have not included other error checks. In our parser.h, I'll comment the error and send to parser function. And in our scanner.c++, delete the error function. So with this, we come to the end of part 1. And in part 2 of this course, we start the actual compilation of tokens. So what we achieve in part 1 of this course is we've been able to break our code down into tokens. The token is the basic unit. From the token, we are going to start building the sentence, which we are going to compile in part 2 of this function. So make sure you understand every single pieces of part 1 before proceeding to part 2. Part 2 is more tougher. We are going to meet a lot of function and the compilation takes process here. So make sure that you understand the basic block of this our compiler we are building. Understand every single function and tokens we treated in this part 1. So that in part 2, we will have a well-grounded knowledge around compilers.